Good morning, everybody. It is Saturday, February 27th, and what we're going to discuss today is our goal-setting webinar or workshop. And what we're going to focus on are all the reasons why we fail at goal setting. Now, this is going to be an interactive workshop, which means I'm going to ask you questions, and I would love it if you guys actually give me feedback so that we could all enhance our learning. I don't want to be just me speaking because then it's just oratory. But if we can get some conversation from you folks, this will give you a deeper understanding of the process. So let's talk about why people have failed at goal setting. Now imagine if you've been around for a while and you're older than maybe 10, you've probably failed at goal setting. You may have set goals in the past and weren't able to accomplish them. Does that fit anybody in this group?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
I've always been really good at setting goals. It's the execution that I have trouble with.
It was my ha-ha bird, yeah.
Yeah, so let's do essentially a mind map on this. I did this once. It was a great exercise. It really revealed a lot to me. So I thought I'd share it with you. And I mind mapped, how to fail at internet marketing. And then I took all the answers of what you do to fail, and I just did the opposite. So let's take a look at it. So if I really wanted to fail at goal setting, what would I do? What would be the first thing I would do?
Not have a goal.
Bingo, right? Guaranteed failure. So write that down, somebody. Don't have a goal. Now, what else would I do to fail? Would I write it down? Absolutely not, right? Because if I write it down, I might remember it. And if I remember it, I might act on it. So I definitely wouldn't write it down. Would I have a deadline for it?
Nope.
No, you wouldn't.
Nope. Wouldn't put a deadline down because that might get me to act. And I'm trying to avoid acting because all I want to do is fail at goal setting. Would I think about my goal at all?
Never.
No, you wouldn't think about it.
Never. I would, and it's too busy. No time.
If I
can't do that.
if I did think about it, I would think about failing at it.
Exactly. So if the thought did come up, I wouldn't encourage it. I'd say, get away from here. You know I'm going to fail. Now, since I'm focused on failing, who would be the people that I would hang around with? People who are excited, motivated, and looking to accomplish their goals, or would I hang out with people who don't have goals, don't want to accomplish anything in life, and focus on everything but achieving their goals? Who would I hang out with?
Negative.
Especially people who tell you you'll never succeed.
Huh?
I think we call those people losers.
Yeah. I don't like to use that word because it's really not that simple. There really aren't winners and losers. You have people who are enlightened and people who have yet to become enlightened.
That's better phrasing.
I like that phrasing.
Yeah, because at one point we were all in that loser category. We just didn't know. And then the people that know and don't do it, they're not yet enlightened enough. How to come up with that category? Because how do you explain it when somebody knows they should and they still don't do it? Not enlightened enough. So what else would I do to fail? I wouldn't write it down. I wouldn't set it. I would hang out with unenlightened individuals. I wouldn't. Would I read my goal every day to remind myself of what I want?
Nope.
No. Hell no. Fuck that shit, right? I ain't gonna do that. Would I put pictures up of what I want? Would I create people call it a dream board. I think that's a stupid statement. I call it a visualization board. Why? Because I'm not dreaming about it, I'm visualizing it. So I want to visualize what I want. But if I don't want to fail, I want to visualize. I don't want to visualize it. I want to hang around my unenlightened friends. I don't want to think about my goal. I don't want to read it out loud. And I certainly don't want to see a picture of it because that might remind me to take action, and I definitely don't want to take action. So what else? What else would I do
You
if I
also-
want to fail? Yeah.
You would not work the problem, the catchphrase I'm taking on. And what it has is if you have a goal and you also assess the obstacles towards it and work the problem of getting to the other side of them. Whether it's up, around, move it, however you're going to deal with the obstacle to get where you want to go. That's working the problem. Simple example, learning to drink enough water. I spent about 6 months experimenting with different containers and locations to keep it so that I was at my water level smoothly and effortlessly. I worked the problem.
Yeah, yeah. So if you want to fail, don't create any solutions. Don't brainstorm any solutions on how to accomplish the goal. If I wanted to fail, would I write down my goal and read it out loud every day, so as a constant reminder to my conscious mind and my subconscious mind that this is what I want, so that it's perfectly clear on what my dominating thought is? Would I do that, or would I just fail to write it down and make sure that I don't have time or make excuses for saying my statement out loud?
Well, you definitely wouldn't write it down and read it because you don't want to remind yourself of what you're not going to have. So why bother?
Right. And so if I did write it down, would I create a statement that I would read out loud every day? Again, because we can't
Definitely
stay
not.
locked on because if we stay on don't write it down, then we fail immediately. But let's go beyond, because people do more than that to fail. Some people write it down and still fail, right?
What about the idea of we do unconsciously, like our disempowering programming, and we may not be repeating our goal dumps, but we're repeating the crappy programming. So that's also how we fail, by encouraging the repetition of the disempowering thoughts.
Yeah.
So not changing your
absolutely.
paradigm.
Yeah, absolutely. By
Yeah.
focusing, we use auto-suggestion or repetition all the time. Milton Erickson said, when asked what is hypnosis, he said everything is hypnosis, because at the end of the day, hypnosis is just an heightened state of belief. That's all a hypnotist does. A hypnotist does 4 things to create, or even a NLP practitioner, if he's smart, understands, because NLP is based heavily on hypnosis, and a good hypnotist and a good NLP will understand that he needs to create 4 things in order to make changes in you. 1, he must make you believe that he is an authority or she is an authority. Okay? That's the first thing you must have. So sometimes when you go to a hypnotist, he'll be wearing a lab coat. He'll have certificates on the wall. Why do doctors put certificates on the walls? I don't know if they do anymore, but they used to. Because they want you to see that, hey, this guy knows what he's doing. He graduated from this medical school. If he has any awards, he'll put it on the wall, any certifications, again, to increase your belief. And so hypnotists and good NLP practitioners will do that as well. You can convince some people to do what you want them to do merely by being an authority. The President of the United States tells you, if you walked into your house and said something, odds are you would do it, because he is the ultimate authority in this country, so to speak. The second thing that a hypnotist will do is he will suggest certain things to increase your believability, or your belief in that he has a certain power. Now, Milton was an individual who focused on what was called, Milton didn't induce people into a trance state. When you tell somebody to sit straight and look at the ceiling, but keep your head pointed straight, just look up at the ceiling, don't move your head up, what you're doing is you're essentially creating a state where the eyes are going to get tired in that position. So what the hypnotist will do is you look at the ceiling, seated, looking straight ahead, but your eyes looking upward, is he'll begin suggesting that your eyes are going to get tired. Since your eyes are going to get tired anyway, he begins to increase your belief in him as the hypnotist. And therefore, when he goes to give you the guided imagery or the suggestions, you are more susceptible to believing it. Hypnosis works the same way that any other thing. Voodoo. Okay? Voodoo will not work on somebody who doesn't believe in voodoo. But if you believe it, it works. Hypnotism will not work if you don't believe in hypnotism. Goal setting will not work if you don't believe in yourself and in your ability to achieve your goals. So being successful in life is not really so much about what you do, but what you believe. You know, you take a look at, you know, the Christians. They weren't great, you know, when Christianity started, they weren't great salespeople. They didn't have a great sales presentation. They didn't have millions of dollars or billions of dollars backing them with advertising. They just believed with a belief that was incredible, because when they were told by the Romans that all they had to do was renounce their faith and say that they believed in the Roman gods, that's all that was required. Just renounce your faith. They would not renounce their faith and instead walked into the Colosseum or were dragged into the Colosseum to be either slaughtered by a gladiator or to be eaten by lions or whatever animal they wanted to use. Now, do you have that kind of faith or belief in yourself and your goals that you would not give up and walk into that Colosseum to risk and give your life away for what you believe? I've asked myself that question. That's a tough one, but that's the state of mind that you need to have. That's
Gandhi and Martin Luther King.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And Martin Luther King, unfortunately, used the power of negative prophecy on himself. He said, I may not make it there, but we will achieve the dream. And consequently, he didn't take the proper security measures to protect himself. So if he had focused on, I will make it there with you, we will reach that point, how much more powerful? Or maybe he just felt that a martyr is what the movement needed and he was willing to sacrifice his own life for that. But we won't get into that. So let's continue with the exercise. So now, if I did write it down, if I did decide to write a goal down, and I decided to put pictures up of the goal in my house, what would I do to make sure that I failed even though the pictures were up on the wall of what I wanted?
Not looking at it, not spending any time.
Yeah, I wouldn't look at it, right? Would I spend any time visual?
It's also the idea of, I'll put stuff up and then you allow it to blend into the background. So you see it, but you don't consciously notice it.
Right. So would I stand in front of it and visualize myself owning that car, that boat, that house, that lifestyle, whatever it might be? No, I wouldn't do that, right? And if somebody asked me, would I have ready excuses for not doing that? Would I find the time to do that, or would I just make excuses? Oh, I'm too busy, that stuff doesn't work. How many excuses would I come up with? As many as was necessary to fail, because I'm focused only on failing. Now let's go back. If I wrote down the goal and I put it on a sheet of paper and I read it out loud, and I was supposed to read it out loud every day, 5 to 10 times a day, and maybe create a goal card to give me a touchstone, a shaman, a good luck charm, a reminder of my goal. Number one is, would I create that goal card? No, because I don't want to be reminded of my goal because I want to fail. So why put a goal card in my pocket that I touch every day that reminds me of what I want? Because I don't want the goal to be my dominating thought. What else could I do? Would I repeat my statement out loud every day with as much emotion as possible? Or would I find excuses not to do that behavior?
I've also found sometimes it's, I want to do my dumps and get it done, and it's been lacking. It hasn't had the impactful emotion, and I'm finding I'm developing an association of mediocrity because I say it with mediocrity, and I'm making that link with it. I've started to switch, but that's also something, is you can say it, but don't say it mediocrely. Not sure how to change that word.
Well, on the days that you don't feel like doing it, just yell it out louder. Change your position. If you don't feel like doing it and you're in your house, go take a walk. Go take a drive. If you plan for it to happen, See, what most people do in life is they wait for things to happen. Like they wait for time to say their statement, or they wait for time to write down their goals or to have a goal-setting workshop. They wait for it. But see, in life, things don't come to those who wait. They come to those who dare to attack and to take what they want. There's a lot of misconceptions out there about what it really takes to succeed. There's a lot of societal bullshit that tells you that, you know, nice guys win, and, you know, if you failed, it wasn't meant to be. Nothing is meant to be. Nothing. There is no 9 to 5 Monday through Friday job making $1 million. No. My buddy came out of a top university as a tax attorney in 1993, $250,000 a year. He would go to the office on Monday and he wouldn't go home till Thursday. There is nothing for nothing. There is always a price to pay. But it's a matter of what you deem to be the price. If you want that 9 to 5 corporate job, and you want weekends off, and you want everything else, then you have to understand that you're going to sacrifice some things for that lifestyle. And if you want success,
I like Robert Kiyosaki's catchphrase is, you make your money in your off time. So if you're choosing the 9 to 5 life, it's the other part of the week where you make your wealth, not 9 to 5.
Unless you're self-employed or in sales, then you make your money all the time because that's what you're focused on. But I understand his analogy. He's talking to the corporate mindset. So let's continue with the exercise. So now I haven't written down my goal. I don't focus on it. I surround myself with losers or unenlightened people, severely unenlightened, to really fail. Do I find the best people to hang out with or the worst people? Who do I gravitate to? The worst, right? The ones that are going to discourage me and disempower me. And actually, if they could actually tell me something that would lower my self-image, that'd be awesome, wouldn't it? That would be the best thing that I could do. Now, if I did write down my goal, would I write it in the present tense? No, I'd probably write it in the future tense, like, someday I'll do this, or someday I'll have that. Would I write it positively or negatively? I would write that goal negatively, wouldn't I? I'd want to say, like, I will not earn $50,000 a month this year. Now, when focused on the goal, would I focus on the rewards or on the obstacles?
On the obstacles.
Yeah.
Everything that stands in your way.
Would I make a list of the obstacles and read them every day? Because if I knew the science works, yeah, if I know the science works, then I'm going to use the reverse of it, right? So I would
in the guise,
in
the guise of trying to figure it out, How can I not have this problem? You would,
yeah,
I would.
Yeah.
It would be auto-suggested constantly.
Yeah, well, I want to fail, so I'm going to use every tactic in order to fail. So I'm going to write down the goal I'm not going to have, right? If I really want to fail, I'll use all the strategies to succeed, but reverse them. I would hang pictures of all the obstacles everywhere that I could walk. I would record myself telling myself why it's impossible for me to succeed. I would have friends that would reinforce that and constantly have them tell me why I should fail and why I'm such an unenlightened loser. I would hang pictures of all the obstacles. I would have photographs of all the greatest losers in life, so that I would be constantly reminded of what I'm aspiring to. Loser, right? Let's put it there. Let's just play with that a little bit. No derogatory connotation. We're just playing with this. So if I really wanted to fail, I would have a goal card, but it would be a not, an obstacle card, because I don't want to focus on the goal. I want to focus on the obstacles, right? I used to have this thing that I used to do. When I would bring up an idea in a brainstorming session, when somebody used to tell me, why it couldn't happen, I would say to them, you're fired. As you can tell, I was watching a lot of Donald Trump until the show got stupid. So I'd say to them, you're fired. And they go, what do you mean? You go, I don't need you here to tell me why it won't work. I want you to figure out how to make this work. You see, what most people do is they don't focus on what they want. They focus on why they can't have it. When Henry Ford told them, gave the engineers a command, which was, I want an 8-cylinder engine. And they said, well, we don't know how to figure it out. He was not focused on the obstacles. He was focused on that he wanted this 8-cylinder engine. And he was willing to invest money in developing it because he felt that this 8-cylinder engine would revolutionize transportation, which it did. It did. Trucks could not haul what they were hauling with a 6-cylinder engine. They needed more horsepower. So if we wanted to fail, we would actually, you know, it's like, I remember Superman comics just came to mind. And I remember there was the Bizarro Superman, who was the opposite of Superman. Kryptonite made him stronger. The sun made him weaker. He would not help people. He would go out of his way to hurt people. And it was really funny because it was just a reverse take on Superman. So this is essentially what I just popped into my head, and this is how I'm thinking. So if I really, really wanted to fail, I'd write down all the obstacles. I'd put pictures up of everything that would stop me. I'd associate with people who are going to discourage me, disempower me, insult me, put me down, so that I can never even think about it, right? I'd never want to be in a position where somebody would encourage me, because then I'd fail at what my goal is. Anything else that I missed? So, okay, so I would say if I wanted to succeed at failing, would I read a statement of all the obstacles and why I'm such a loser every day? Yeah.
First,
see, now I want to be, yeah.
I'm not sure where this sits, but it's something I've been recently aware of in myself. When people make a statement such as, change is hard,
Hello? I think we lost you. Yeah, we lost her. So now let's talk about, you know, we know what we shouldn't do to succeed, and we can basically point that out to just not having a goal. Now, let's explore that. If we really wanted to fail, would we set like a lot of goals? And would they all be contradictory to what we're trying to do? We would set a goal to like maybe become a Boy Scout leader and spend 50 hours a week there, and at the same time we would set a goal to earn $50,000 a month, which would take 70, 80 hours a week. Would we set goals that compete with each other?
Of course,
Absolutely,
setting goals
right?
is fun.
Yeah. So you see where I'm going? I'm just not going from the perspective of, because to do this exercise, you must explore every possibility. You can't just go, okay, don't set a goal, done. You then must look at it and go, okay, if I really wanted to succeed, which is in essence a reverse of what we're doing, if I really wanted to succeed at failing, what would I do? And in order to succeed at failing, you must do exactly the same thing you would do to succeed, but you would do the opposite. So you would still write down a goal, but you would make it a ridiculous goal, a goal that competes with all your other goals. You would set multiple goals. You would focus on all the obstacles. Would you have a goal card? No, you'd have an obstacle card. Do you understand where I'm going now? You'd have an obstacle card to remind you consistently of what stands in your way. Because in the first example I gave you, is you wouldn't find the time to read your statement. But that's not going to cause you to really, truly fail magnificently. You'd fail, but not like, you wouldn't crash and burn. It would just be a little poof, So now let's look at how to fail incredibly, right? How to just take somebody and just crush the life out of them, right? And that somebody is you. So your goal is to crush the life out of yourself. So let's discuss that. What would you do to crush the living life out of yourself? so that you'd never even attempt anything outside of your comfort zone.
This is kind of funny, Bert, because now you just turned around and made a new goal, and the goal is destruction.
Right. Absolutely. Because isn't that what we're actually doing anyway? No? Yes? Maybe? Hello? Can anybody hear me?
Well, is there a difference between a goal of destruction and misguidedness into mediocrity?
Well, we explored what it takes to just fail at something. And really the way to fail at something is not to identify what you want and not to focus on it at all. So that's the first part of this. And that's easy to do. Just don't set a goal. Then we explored, okay, let's take it one step further. If I did write the goal down, what would I do to fail at it? And we explored the fact that we would not read our goal statement. We would not write it down. We would associate with unenlightened losers. We would constantly focus on the obstacles. We would have a goal card, but we'd never look at it. And in fact, we would, at this point, write down the obstacles. So there's two paradigms there. The third one is, what if we just wanted to really focus on failing? Okay, we wanted to make it our dominating thought. We wanted to just fail and fail miserably. And by giving you these three paradigms, I'm going to give you the solutions. Because what you're looking at is the reason you fail at goal setting is because you do any series of these things. And you see, most people are not going to do the super failing, which is what we're going to explore now, but you'll do parts of everything. You'll write a goal down, but you'll never review it. You know, anybody that tells me I wrote down a goal and I put it on a piece of paper and a year later I accomplished it, I say bullshit. Okay? Because that's not how goal setting works. You can't write down something and then it magically appear. Okay? This is not, you know, magically delicious, you know, Cheerios or whatever the cereal is. There must be work. There must be a plan. And you must continue to work that plan. And there must be a process. Everything requires a process. One of the things that Mr. Edison discovered is that if you break down everything into a process or a system, you can accomplish anything. The reason that McDonald's succeeded was not because they had the best hamburgers. It's because they had a system of producing a product consistently the same way. That's why they succeeded. And they have a franchise system that they sell to people. Why do people buy a McDonald's franchise? Because they have a system for success, don't they? So what we're getting into is what's called systems thinking. So you must have a success system, a system for your own success. So let's explore what would we do if we wanted to just destroy every ounce of enthusiasm, motivation, or the ability to accomplish any goal. And so by so doing, we're going to actually set a goal to accomplish that. And in reality, to accomplish it, we must use the same principles. Does everybody get that? Because if I focus on if I set a goal, but then I focus on the obstacles, I put pictures up of the obstacles, I put pictures up of all the things of other people who have failed. If I associate myself with people who have failed, if I focus on my goal by repeating it out loud, if I even create a recording of what the obstacles are to keep myself constantly reminded of why I cannot accomplish it, of what's stopping me, and then I have this peer group of people who's going to reinforce that in my life. What else can I do to guarantee that I never take the action? I come up with excuses for taking action, right? I'm too busy, I don't have time. And then if the excuses aren't enough, what do I do with my actual behavior? Do I actually get involved in activities that will impede my ability to achieve my goal? Yeah, right? Wouldn't I do that? If my goal is to fail, if there aren't enough roadblocks, am I going to create some roadblocks? Yes or no?
Definitely, because creating roadblocks
Yeah.
is fun.
Yeah. And then I'm going to imagine a few that I haven't even created. So I'll make up some. So the way to fail at goal setting is very simple. Use the same techniques that it takes to succeed. You see, because that's what everybody is doing right now. And that's what I was hoping for you to see, is that you're all, including myself, doing part of what I just said. We're using it unconsciously. We're unconsciously choosing to not read our statement. We're consciously choosing to find excuses. Now, if I wanted to fail, would I saturate my mind with audios or books that reinforce that I can have what I want in life, that I can accomplish what I want? Or would I listen to the news, listen to the charades that we call politics in this country now? Would I focus on anything other than maintaining a positive mindset? Yeah, that's what I would do. And as far as the books, I'd buy them, and then I would say, what, I don't have time. Who has time to read? I'd get the audios, and I would not have them on my smartphone. I would create obstacles. You see, if you don't have audios of Think and Grow Rich or Strangest Secret or Bob Proctor's material that I offered recently, any of those type of things, if you don't have those type of things on your smartphone, you're already doing the failure. You don't see it, you don't realize it, but you're already doing this behavior. Because the problem with this behavior is we're putting a flashlight on it, right? We're putting a spotlight on it. But everybody here, as I said this, realize that they've done some of these things already. All of us do it. And we find excuses for why we can't do it. I don't have time, I don't have time to create a goal card. I don't have time to write down my goals. I don't have time to do the visualization exercises. Is anybody here familiar with a concept called autogenics? No? I purposely posted that video of the judo player because I wanted you all to really understand what it takes to succeed. If you did use visualization, what would you visualize if you really wanted to fail? Would you visualize everything that stands in your way? Would you visualize all the obstacles? Would you visualize yourself failing? You see, we're all doing that already. We don't do it consciously. We don't go, oh, gee. But we find excuses. And consequently, those are the actions that we take. Because as this famous author once said, our thoughts become our words. Our words become our actions. Our actions become our habits. And our habits become our destiny. Now, let me share 3 things with you. And I'd like you to write them down and ponder these 3 things. We attract not what we want, but who we are. So if you don't have the success you want in life, it's because of your thoughts. If you don't have the person in your life that you want, it's because of your thoughts. If you don't have the money that you want, it's because of your thoughts. Okay? Because we don't attract what we want, we attract who we are. So if you want somebody in your life, a business partner, let's say you want a business partner who is positive, enthusiastic, loyal, because you want a loyal partner in business, right? Willing to work with you, intelligent. You can name all the characteristics that you want in this person. And here's the catch, though. In order to find that person, you must be that person, because like attracts like. And if you're not like that person, you won't get it. Now let me give you an example when it comes to a relationship. If you have been burned in a relationship before, And you like to have a sense of security so that if you're in a relationship, you want the other person to be okay with the idea that you constantly let each other know what you're doing. Okay? I want you to hear now because this is critical. If you want the other person to constantly tell you where they are and what they're doing, because that makes you feel comfortable, right? If that's your belief system, that the person that you're with must be constantly, if you call them, they must answer the phone right away. Guess what kind of a person you're going to attract?
A possessive control freak?
You got it. You got it. Now, in your mind, you're going to say, well, what I really want is I got burned in the past, so I want somebody that I can trust. But that's not what that's what you want. You understand? But it's not who you're going to attract. So who was it that said a possessive, controlling freak?
It was Shannon.
Very good
Been there,
insight.
done that.
Yeah. Good insight. Good insight. Good insight.
And then I changed my motives, and I found someone, and I married him, and he's wonderful.
That's outstanding. So if you want somebody who is not controlling, who is not possessive, guess who you have to be? You have to be not controlling and not possessive. Now, if you've got burned before, that might be tough because it means that you're going to have to change yourself. And you're going to have a stronger identity because we can't control other people anyway. So let's say you want somebody in your life who is positive. Now that's what you want. But if you are not positive, if you get into a bitching session and complaining sessions and you don't have a program, you see, here's the thing, right? Somebody asked me this in a coaching session, and they said, Bert, why is it that being positive is hard? And it is, right? Maintaining a positive frame of mind is hard. And I said, that's because it's a survival mechanism. If you're walking through the forest and you're thinking, what a beautiful day, oh my God, it's lovely out here, and the world is so nice, and oh look, that guy's holding a stick, he's really a nice guy. Oh, what a nice stick it is, it has a sharp point and it's being thrown at me. Oh, what a wonderful day. That doesn't work for survival, right? Oh, look, there's a bear, isn't he pretty? Oh, he's standing up on his paws and running at me. Oh, he just wants to say hello. Oh, look, there's a mountain lion. Oh, he's so cute, this mountain lion. It's just a little cub. Oh, look, there's his mother. Oh, she's coming over to me. She's probably going to ask me if I want to pet that lion cub. No.
They're adorable until they start eating you.
Yeah, they're all adorable. So that's not good for survival. So survival says, uh-oh, there's a mountain lion. I'm going to get eaten. I got to look to survive. So we immediately go to the problem, and then we immediately go to the solution. The problem is that something got broke along the way. Because in our DNA, it should be that we should be the ones that figured out that there's a bear. I need to figure out how to survive. And I can't stay locked on there's a bear, there's a bear, there's a bear, there's a bear. But see, I was listening to David Allen, and he made a very interesting point. He said two interesting things that I heard last night. And the first one was that our society is shifting from a product doing to a mind doing. What he meant by that is if we lived on a farm, okay, we wouldn't need a list of what to do. We'd know that we have to get up at 5 o'clock in the morning, we'd have to go feed the chickens, and then we'd have to go plow the fields or sow the corn or whatever. We would know exactly what to do. We would not need a list to determine our priorities. It would be very simple. Does everybody get that? Somebody's
Not
got
sure
a lot
about-
of background noise. Yeah. Go ahead. Sure, go ahead. What was it you were going to say?
Not sure what you mean.
Okay. Well,
I'm on my way to a heritage farm and to go see that world. And it's getting up in the morning, and it's the right season, so they're slicing the apples and stringing them up in the ceiling to dry for the winter. And this is the time they call the sheep, and you can watch them slaughtering them and preparing them. And they have a set routine every day is the same, or
Yeah.
by the season.
yeah. When you're working with a product or a physical object, it's very easy to figure out what to do. If you're working at the assembly line in Ford, you get on the line and you do the job that you're required to do. But since we're now not producing anything, more and more of our society is not producing anything, most of the work we're doing is creative work, thinking. And that's where it becomes a problem, because now we essentially need to become, we need a method to take what's in our brain and to dump it. And David Allen's method, or GTD, is all about that. You know, do you think there's a reason why phone numbers are only 7 digits? That's because the human mind can, you know, in the military, the most that they'll have on a team is 5 guys, because they found that a leader can only manage up to 5 individuals. I think 6 might be the new paradigm, but I think 5 was the old paradigm. But you could only manage 5 people. Beyond that, you can't manage it. And it's the same thing. And our brains are kind of dumb, aren't they? You're at the supermarket shopping, and you think, and all of a sudden an idea pops up that you should discuss at the next team meeting. Or you're at the team meeting, and an idea pops up in your brain that you need cat food. Isn't that dumb? Isn't that our brain really dumb? Because it doesn't think in logical patterns. It thinks in whatever triggers it. So the whole method of GTD is essentially to just capture those ideas, not to process them, but just to capture them, and then later on to process them when it's time. But the whole concept was that you must understand that it's gotten more difficult to do things because we're using brain power. And we never had to do that before. This is brand new to us. Our brains were developed over years in understanding the concept of there's a bear, I need to eat, throw spear. There's a field, I need to plow that to get corn. Now we walk into the office, and what's the first thing you say to yourself? What do I need to do today? See, farmers did not get up in the morning and make a to-do list. They knew what they needed to do. And a blacksmith didn't get up in the morning and go, make horseshoes to sell. Call Mr. Jones about more horseshoes. No. He opened his store. He made horseshoes. So as we move more into and we're already there, and we're now at mental, right now everybody in this call and in this world is on information overload, and we don't know how to handle it. How many people here have bookmarks on their browsers that they've never gone back to and looked at? Just say I.
Aye.
Okay. How many people have Evernote and saved those bookmarks to Evernote and still never looked at them?
Aye.
Who here has Pocket or Instapaper, who are also accomplished this thing? They're just bookmarking services, and also doesn't go back and do that. Okay? So the problem is that we really don't know how to manage all this information. But let's get back to the point. The second part of the conversation that Mr. Allen said is that autogenics is the science, which is now, the reason I put that judo image up is because in 1980s, I believe in the 70s or 80s, they found that if you visualized yourself doing a task and you did it repeatedly, that your performance would not diminish. Your performance in actuality would either stay the same or increase when compared to other individuals that were actually doing the movement. So the great experiment was a college team where they took the two college teams, and one team was allowed to go to practice every day. And they would go to practice and shoot the ball and dribble and all that. The other team was not allowed to practice. They went into a room and they laid down and they were guided through a visualization exercise where they would see themselves making every shot perfectly. They would walk them through a game, but every time they shot the ball, it went into the basket. Every time they dribbled, they were able to drive to the basket. So they saw themselves over and over again achieving success. At the end of the experiment, they compared the results from the two individuals. Now, you would think that the people that were constantly shooting the ball and dribbling the ball and developing those motor skills would have outperformed the people who were not developing those motor skills. But it didn't matter. The results were that the people that were doing the visualization either were at the same level of skill or higher. In fact, it was actually higher for the group that was doing the visualization exercise. As a result of that experiment, a lot of additional work was done, and one of the individuals that was key point in this, I believe, actually wrote a course about it because he was involved in the experiment. I'm trying to think of his name. He's a motivational speaker now. But what they realized is that the human brain does not know the difference between a real event and an imagined one. Doesn't know the difference. So therefore, if you visualize your success the way you want it to play out, and you do it consistently enough, it will give you the same results as if you had the success, or actually better. And so what ended up happening is all the Olympic athletes, all the coaches from Olympic teams started using this exercise. And that's why I posted the video of that young judo player. And if you heard her, she focused on, from the beginning of the time period that she set the goal to go to the Olympics, she visualized herself going and competing in her last match to win the gold medal. And there was a mantra. What was her mantra? Anybody watch the video? If you haven't, please go to the Think and Grow Rich group. If you're not in the Think and Grow Rich, just request to be admitted and I'll let you in. You'll see the video. I think it's the first one in the feed. Does anybody know the mantra?
This is my day. This is my purpose.
This is my day. This is my purpose. I wake up in the morning. I go to the cafeteria. I pour myself some Cheerios, and I know that this is my day. This is my purpose. This is what I did. This is what I've worked for. This is what I prepared for. This is my day. This is my purpose. As she's walking through that, she has that as her constant mantra. It's a trigger, right? The purpose of a mantra is to create a mental state by using certain words. When you say your statement, it is, my birthday, July 20th, 2017, and I, Bert Hearn, I am so happy and grateful now that I am receiving over $50,000 in monthly residual income from multiple businesses and income streams. That is my mantra. That triggers a picture if I create the picture. So let's encapsulate, okay, and I'll share with you. So here's what David Allen said. He said that it has now become a proven fact, and this was interesting because we had discussed this before, that if you go to bed at night and you set out your intentions to come up with a solution to a problem, it is a proven fact that your subconscious mind will wake up in the morning and provide you with potential solutions to that problem. Now, for those of you that are in the Next Level Mastermind group, you know we talked about that, and we talked about W. Clement Stone, and when he had a problem where the walls were caving in, and what did he do? Okay? He had a problem that was of such magnitude that it was putting his entire business, his income, everything in his life in peril. He did a few things. One, he repeated 3 affirmations. Number 1 was God is a good God. 2, right is right. And 3, in every adversity, there is a greater benefit if I look for it. And then he decided to count his blessings. He didn't focus on the problem. He focused on the mindset first. He counted his blessings. He counted the fact that he had 3 boys, a beautiful wife, a great home, a car, and he lived in the greatest country in the world that gave him the opportunity to succeed. And then he did 3 things. He prayed for guidance, he prayed for help, and he expected it to come. He expected an answer. And then he went to bed. In the morning he woke up and he had 4 resolutions. 1, he would not lose his company. Number 2, he set a goal that by 1956, this was 1939, he would start a company, and his company would be the largest insurance company in the United States. Number 3, he set a personal goal that by 1956 he would achieve this personal, it was really not an income goal, it was a savings goal. And number 4, I forget what number 4 was. But anyway, what happened? Why do I mention that? Because he understood that when you have a problem sometimes, you're better off letting the little brain take a break. I want you to think about your conscious mind. If you've ever seen an elephant being driven, okay, or an elephant being ridden, you'll notice the little man on top of the elephant and then the big elephant underneath. Well, your conscious mind has the computing power of the little man, and your subconscious mind has the computing power of the elephant. Now, it's easy to understand that if you realize that when you go to bed at night, your conscious mind is not in charge of saying breathe, 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 pump, heart pump, heart pump, heart pump, legs move, 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 oh, blood, get moving. Your conscious mind doesn't do that. Your frontal cortex does not take control of that. That's all done by your subconscious mind. In fact, your subconscious mind never sleeps. But your frontal cortex does. You require 8 hours of sleep. That 8 hours is for your body to regrow new cells, but it's also for the brain, the frontal cortex, to download all the information that it observed into the subconscious mind and create memories. That's really what the process is all about. It's a download into the subconscious. So when you understand that your subconscious mind is way more powerful than your conscious mind, then you'll begin to understand what hunches are all about. Or when an idea pops in your brain, that's just your subconscious mind. It's not your conscious mind giving you those ideas. That idea is coming from your subconscious mind. And so if you have a problem, if you will go to bed with an intention, and the intention is that you want your subconscious mind to assist you in solving this problem, you will wake up in the morning with solutions. That has now been proven to be a fact. But here's the key. You must go to bed at night expecting it to work and having a clear intention of what you want to have happen. So that came out of David Allen's recording while I was just trying to learn how to manage my events better. So let's go back now. We've discovered that in order to really massively fail, we do the same things that we would do to massively succeed. We first started out by saying to fail, we must not write down a goal. And that will pretty much guarantee failure. And then we said, okay, but what if we did write down a goal? What would we do then to fail? And we started working through that process. And then we said, what if we set a goal to fail? What would we do? And then we realized we would write down the goal in the form of a negative affirmation. We would create a visualization board of all our obstacles. We would associate with negative people that are unenlightened. We would carry a goal card in our pocket, but it would be called an obstacle card to constantly remind us of why we're going to fail. We would create recordings to listen to. We would take speeches of people that talked about failure, and we would just constantly reinforce the fact that we're going to fail, that it's easy to fail, and that life is just set up for failing. That's what we would saturate our brain with. And that would create uber failure. Not just a little failure, but uber failure. Now, one of the side effects of that is that you would also go into a deep depression and would begin contemplating suicide, even if you have a healthy heart, a healthy mind. Because when you focus on negatives and you focus on all these things, you lose hope. And once you lose hope, it becomes very dangerous. So by doing all these things, essentially by doing the reverse of what you're learning, if you are in the Think and Grow Rich or in any of the stuff, you would definitely not listen to a positive audio. You would definitely not invest in your brain power. I mean, seminars are great, but the problem with seminars, in my opinion, is that they're too temporary. I'd rather invest money in an audio and listen to that over and over again. Because, look, advertisers do this all the time, right? Do advertisers use a great deal of, I mean, when you see a commercial, do we jump up and down and go, I wish I was an Oscar Mayer wiener? But yeah, how come I still remember that stupid song? Or, you know, I was watching some older commercials to come up, you know, with more ideas about propaganda. I saw the old Alka-Seltzer commercial. Didn't even remember it because it was, you know, from when I was a kid. Pop, pop, fizz, fizz, oh, what a relief it is. How do you spell relief? R-O-L-A-I-D-S. I mean, go back sometimes. Go into YouTube and type in old television commercials. And you'll understand how the human brain works, because the advertising industry is spending billions of dollars to get you to buy into their goal. You see, when you buy a product, you're helping somebody else achieve their goal. So what they're doing is they're just advertising their goal every day. We want you to buy Oscar Mayer wiener. Here's a cute song so that it'll stick in your friggin' brain and you'll never forget it. Oh, look, we want you to buy Alka-Seltzer. Here's another cute little song, a jingle. Now we're more progressive. They understand that emotion is what drives us. So we'll put Michael Jackson, who can generate enthusiasm and excitement. We'll put him in front of a picture of Pepsi-Cola, even though he won't drink it. And then when his hair caught on fire, you can bet your bottom dollars that the advertising company was thrilled because of all the extra publicity they got. They probably gave him a couple of $1 million more just because his hair got burned. Because that shit went viral, and that wasn't even before viral was a word. Viral didn't exist back then. So what do we do? Okay. So now we understand all you need to do is take what we just said and do the opposite of that, and you'll accomplish your goal. So let's now talk about a goal. And I'm going to end this in about 30 minutes, so we're not going to stay on much longer. There are 17 people on the call, so I do appreciate your time. So I will end this exactly at 10:30. So now that we understand that all you need to do is, if you really want to succeed, you must, number one, write down your goal. Number two is you must create a visualization board of everything that you want, and you must review it every day. You must create a written description of what the day looks like when you will accomplish your goal. And you must focus on that every night before you go to bed, giving your subconscious mind a clear intention of what you want so that it will give you the ideas, the hunches. Am I going too fast?
Yes.
Okay, good. I want you to speed up and catch up. So when you think about, when you go to bed at night, if you give your brain a clear intention of what you want every single night, it's going to come up with answers. You see, everything you have is because your subconscious mind came up with an answer. If you were doing poorly in high school, your subconscious mind, and then you got to college and you're like, wow, I really don't have study skills and I'm really failing at this, your subconscious mind gave you an answer. If you were looking to go party and get laid, your subconscious mind gave you an answer. You started to, I was talking about this with a buddy of mine who was, I don't know if you guys know this name, but I'll throw it out there. The guy's name is Mystery. And Mystery is considered one of the greatest pickup artists, or the best pickup artist in the world. He has the ability to go up to an attractive model and within minutes, you know, have her phone number or be taking her to bed. Male chauvinistic? Yes. Not what I'm talking about. I'm just talking about intention. So I asked him, I said, you know, now my friend is married. He has 3 kids. And I said to him, do you still stay in touch with those guys? No. So do you read the material anymore? Nah. So I started to put together that when people unplug, if he had stayed plugged into that community, he probably wouldn't have gotten married, and he probably wouldn't have had 3 kids and be, you know, have a loving wife, etc. But see, once he got what he wanted, which was really a loving wife and a family, he unplugged from that mentality. Because if you stay plugged into that mentality, what do you think would have been his behavior with his wife? If he stayed plugged into a mentality that preaches seducing women, what do you think would have happened? Any guesses? Yeah.
He wouldn't be married.
He wouldn't be married. Or he would try to convince her to have an open relationship, right? You know, there's a lot of scripts on that one. Look, honey, you know, you can go out and be with other men and I'll just be with other women, and that way, you know, we just keep this excitement happening. You know, whatever you want to sell her, you know, or sell yourself on. But the thing is, he unplugged. And the moment he unplugged, he allowed himself to succeed because his goal was to have a family and to have a loving relationship. But if he had stayed plugged into the other thing, it wouldn't have happened. So here's what I'm saying to you. Stay plugged in. Somebody asked recently, I've been saying my statement for 2 months. Nothing's happening. Well, there's a lot of reasons nothing is happening. And also the main reason is you're trying to change maybe 25 years of programming in 2 months. Do you think that's really a fair equation? Here's the good news. Here's the good news. Even if you've been programming yourself negatively since birth because you don't really know how you got programmed, you know, or I'm sorry, you do know how you got programmed, you just don't know how you got programmed because that doesn't always show up exactly the way we think it does because we really don't understand how to see it. When we start to accept the first premise number one is that I have in my life right now not what I want, but who I am, how I think. So if I don't have the wealth in my life that I want, or the financial security, or the relationship, it has nothing to do with external circumstances. It has nothing to do with what I want. It has to do with who I am. And who determines who I am? My thoughts. How I think. You see, when you look at somebody, you know, I get this all the time. I had somebody that was looking at the Next Level Mastermind group. And this person said to me, you know, Bert, I just want to focus on taking action. What I need to do now is take action, 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 action. That's what I'm focused on. And I said, I understand that. I said, but why do you think you don't have the results you want right now and you're in a position where you must take action? Do you think that that's external circumstances? Or do you think that you attracted that? So you see, everybody's looking for the how, right? We all want to know the how. But you could go right now and I could give you the how. And if your mindset is fucked up and you're not the person, you know, Paul used to say that if you give a kid 20, 25 years old $1 million, he'll generally blow it. Why is that? Why would it be that if I gave $1 million to a guy under 25, that I and by, he probably wouldn't hold on to the money? Because he doesn't have the success habits? What happens, what is it, are you all familiar with what happens to most of the lottery winners that win these mega lotteries? Anybody? Do you know what happens?
Broke in a year.
Broke in a year. They're filing bankruptcy within a year or two. Why
Well, they
is
find them dead. They found one dead that was in a $1 million home with 3 hookers.
Yeah, I just saw a video of this guy try to beat up a homeless man, and he picked up, and the video said homeless man picks on NFL player and regrets it. He beat up on this guy. He tried to beat up on this homeless guy, and it turned out this homeless guy played in the NFL for 15 years.
Oh, God.
And he was a top player, and yet the man was living homeless. He was sitting in a bus shelter, you know, one of those bus things that has glass so you can wait there so he wouldn't get wet. Now, what happens? Now, sometimes it's things beyond our control, like maybe mental disease. But excluding mental disease, why is it that these people are where they are? Because they never learned how to direct and control their thoughts to whatever ends they want. And so they felt that life put them there. In fact, most of the time when you talk to people, they will, when they're not succeeding, they will tell you about all the external circumstances. Okay? So I want you to get that even though I'm going to give you the how next, the battle is not in the how, because you've got the how is out there. I mean, you can spend a day Googling and get the how, but that's not going to change shit. What you really have to do is you have to understand the first part of this is that in order to not fail, you must have a goal. You must read it out loud with as much emotion. You must have a visualization board or a picture of what you want, and you must take time to visualize it. You must go to bed at night with the intention that the goal has already happened, just like the girl did. This is my day. This is my purpose. And you must do that not as a job, but as something that you enjoy. Sitting there imagining your success before you have it is sheer joy. And so the next part is, in order to achieve our goals, we must first decide what we want. And the first thing that I suggest that everybody do is Don't do this on paper. Okay? I suggest that you download an app called Wunderlist or any application online that allows you to create a list and has an app for your phone. Because what's going to happen is as you continue to grow, you're going to be thinking, as you might walk down the street and see a Ferrari, and say, wow, I'd like to have that. And if you get focused on that, you'll immediately take out your smartphone and you'll enter, Ferrari XJS Vanderplas edition or whatever the car is, and you'll add it to your dream list. Because your dream list, one of the sad things is when Paul passed away, his wife was kind enough to show his plan of action. He still had goals 20 years out, and he was still adding dreams to his dream list. And Paul is considered the master goal setter, by the way. If you don't know it, Google Paul J. Meyer. So create an app on your phone, create a list. You can use the app for 1,000 things, but I'm just going to encourage you to create a list of your dreams. And then to sit down today on your laptop or on your desktop, because you can access it through their website. Wunderlist is great, and it's free, and it has alarms and all these nice little bells and whistles. There's others out there. I'm not advocating one, and I'm not telling you to spend money. I'm giving you a free resource. And then just sit down for a few minutes and write down everything you want in every area of life. And don't let your imagination, be blocked by your conscious mind. If you decide that you want to own a Learjet, write it down, type it in. If you want a live-in maid, you want a gourmet chef, you want to go scuba diving the barrier reefs, you want to climb Mount Kilimanjaro, you want to climb Mount Everest, write it down, because at this point, all we're doing is reactivating our child in us, the child that said anything is possible, and put that negative little conscious mind that we all have to sleep, and just focus on, if anything was possible, what would I be, do, have? Be, do, have. Find time today or over the weekend to do that exercise. And then once you're done doing that exercise, you can go back, and one of the nice things about Wunderlist is that you can create tags or hash or context. So what I do is, if the goal is to climb Mount Everest, I use the pound sign followed by the word physical, because that belongs in my physical life, right? If I type in Ferrari, well, that's a financial goal, right? I need money for that. It might also be social. So I'll do hashtag financial, hashtag social. And I'll explain to you why in a minute. And so if I write down live-in maid, well, that's going to be hashtag financial and hashtag what else? Family, right? Because there's basically
Lifestyle.
6 areas of, there's 6 areas of life. There's your financial and career, there's your physical and your health and fitness, your mental and educational, your family and relationships, your social and cultural, your spiritual and ethical. Those are basically the 6 areas of life. Now, some people add in like adventure, but really, adventure is just a subset of physical. Lifestyle. Lifestyle is a subset of financial, maybe social. If you need to add those extra lists, I'm not saying don't, you can. You could hashtag adventure. If you want to visit, if you want to go on a 1-month tour in Europe and see Paris and Greece and Rome and all that, that would fit into what? 2 categories possibly, maybe 3, right? It would definitely fit into financial, because you need finances to afford that, right? It also would fit into the family, because you might want to take your wife and kids with you if you have them, or your girlfriend or significant other. And it might also have to do with your social area. So you would give it hashtag financial, hashtag financial, hashtag social, hashtag family. So now after you begin doing this, one of the beautiful things is that if you want to look at all your financial goals, all you do is you just click on the hashtag financial, and it'll create a list of all your financial goals. That's why you want to put hashtags. So that's the one exercise. And by having it on see, I used to carry this 3-ring binder called my plan of action, and that's where my master dream list was. But now, if I forgot to take if I left my briefcase at work, and it was Sunday, I couldn't work on my goals because they weren't accessible. So by having it online in an app, I can access that information on my laptop, I can access that information on my cell phone. I can access that information on my iPad. Or if I don't have any of those things with me, I can go to the library, I can sign into my account, and I can get access to that information. Or I can borrow a friend's computer and do the same thing. So what you want is you want to have the ability to consistently add to the list and to be able to have it available to you. Because remember, one of the key things was not having things available to us, right? Not seeing the goal, right? Not seeing the goal is the number one thing that you must do if you want to fail. Number two. Number one would be not to write it down, and number two is if you write it down, is not to review it. Now, once you've created your dream list, you now want to focus on, you want to go back, and then for any goal that can be done within 12 months, you would just put a hashtag 12. Any goal that you would want to accomplish within the next 12 months, you put a hashtag 12. If you look at other goals and you think, well, that goal will probably take 3 years, you would put hashtag 3. If the goal would take 5 years or longer, you would just put hashtag 5. So now, in essence, you've created a list of all your 12-month goals in every area of life. So you can click on that hashtag 12 and immediately have a list from all the areas, physical, mental, spiritual, educational, family, of what you want. And you can look at that list, and you can put it in priority order. You can do a ton of stuff with it. You can put reminders, dates, etc. So now you have, in essence, identified everything you want. So what's the next step? The next step is you want to identify your goals. And you want to identify your number one financial goal. And Paul used to say you set one goal for each area of life. Just one goal for the next 12 months for that area of life, a short-term goal, 12 months. So you find which is your number one financial goal, which is your number one family goal, relationship goal, which is your number one physical, your health and fitness goal, which is your number one social and cultural, what's your number one educational and mental, and what's your number one spiritual growth or whatever. And it's easy to find because all you have to do is click on the tag, the hashtag, and it'll immediately bring up that list, and then you can immediately put it in order. And what you do is you find, you click on family, and there's all your family dreams. So you find the one that's the 12 months, and you put hashtag 12. Now, what if there's 2 or 3 that you want hashtag 12? Well, there can only be one that's hashtag 12. That's the priority process. So now, any new goals that come in, you just automatically just hashtag social mental. You don't give them a time frame. You'll go back and revisit that some other time. So now you take this goal, and what you're going to do is you can do this also on Wunderlist, and you're going to write that goal down as a present tense affirmation. So if your goal is to earn $50,000 a month, you would write down that goal down as I earn $50,000 per month. And this is, I'm just saying this in Wunderlist. Or if you're using an Excel spreadsheet, the same thing. Or if you're using any other app, same thing. But we're going to get away from paper because the problem with paper is that I can't take it with me. But I can have my goal list with me everywhere I go. So now I take this number one goal. I earn $50,000 per month. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to first ask myself this question. What are the benefits of accomplishing this goal? What are the benefits to be gained, and what are the losses to be avoided? And so what I do is in Wunderlist they have a notes section. So when you create the project, there's a notes section. In that notes section I put benefits to be gained and losses to be avoided. And then I'll just go down. Okay, so $50,000. What are the benefits to be gained? Well, number one is I'll have financial security. Number two is I'll be able to buy the car I want. Number three is I'll be able to buy the house overlooking the beach. Number four, I'll be able to save $100,000 in cash. Number four, I'll be able to start the trust that I want to start for my kids, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Then we come to the most important thing, and that is if the next thing is what stands in my way. Somebody's making a little bit of noise. Beth, I think you need to mute yourself. So you're getting background noise. So So the next thing now is, now I have my goal and I have the benefits to be gained. What are the losses to be avoided? Well, if I don't act on this goal, what do I lose out? Well, then I lose out on financial security. I lose out on having my car. And that's what's going to happen initially, is you're just going to go back and list all the things that you listed as your benefits. But I urge you to not do that. I want you to think about what you'll lose. If you don't accomplish that goal, will your family look at you differently? Will your friends look at you differently? And I want you in both of these sections to really dig for the emotion. You see, we don't really want that car. We want how that car makes us feel. So how would it feel if you pulled up to your mom and dad's house driving a brand new Mercedes-Benz SL500 convertible, white with a tan interior? Would that make your dad or mom believe that you have achieved success? And is that important to you? I'm not saying it is. I'm just saying dig for the emotion. Those benefits to be gained and losses to be avoided, they must have emotion. It's not enough to put down, I'll have a new car. It must be specific. It isn't enough to say, I'll pay off my debt. So dig for the emotion. So now you've identified all the benefits to be gained from accomplishing that 12-month goal. Well, the next thing we need to look at is what does stand in our way. What are the obstacles? And so what you're going to do is you're going to create a task called obstacles in that particular folder, in that particular project. It's a project, really. And you're going to create a task called obstacles with a hashtag called obstacles. And a hashtag, whatever you want to name the goal. So if the goal is earn $50,000 a year, the hashtag could be 50,000 or 50K. And then what you're going to do is go in the notes section and you're going to write down all the reasons why you believe that you will not be able to accomplish this goal. Would it help you if I did a quick video showing you how I did it? Would that help you to visualize this better? Anyone?
I think it would for me.
Okay.
Yes,
Yeah.
please.
Great.
Sure,
Yeah,
it'd be great.
So I'll do
definitely.
that for you. Sure. And I'll show it to you. It's Wunderlist, Wunderlist. And the reason it works is because if you have a goal that you want your husband, wife, significant other to be aware of, you can just make that particular goal you can make it available to them. So let's say you have a goal for next year to go to Disney World. You can give access to your wife or husband, significant other, to that goal. They won't see anything else that you have in there, just that particular project, and then they can add stuff so that it becomes a collaborative, right? And maybe they think of better benefits than you. And so it really, and now you're both on the same page, which is where you want to be anyway. And they can work on it with you, but not having to be with you. So the next thing is that we want to focus on what are the obstacles. So when we first think of the obstacles, what's going to happen is you're going to come up with all the reasons, all the external reasons why you haven't achieved the goal. So for example, let's have somebody give me a real easy goal. Like, is anybody trying to lose weight or stop smoking? Any of those people out there? Pretty much everybody in this country is trying to lose weight, right?
Weight loss.
Weight loss. And what's your name? I'm sorry?
It's Peg.
Peg, okay. That way I know who to call. Okay, so Peg, if I were to, what is your goal? How much weight do you want to lose, or what do you want to weigh? Either one is fine.
Well, it's very ironic. In terms of goal setting, I struggle with this part because there is a...
Just give me a hypothetical number. It doesn't really matter.
Yeah, fair enough.
Let's say 20
130.
pounds? Okay, so let's say you want to lose 20 pounds, just for hypothetical.
Yep.
So, Peggy, what right now is stopping you from weighing 130?
Lifestyle choices.
Okay, lifestyle choices. What else?
Belief systems around food and sugar.
Okay, what else?
Learning how to prioritize the goals and decisions of what I want and what I'm what I perceive I have to sacrifice to get it.
Okay. Here, I'll give you some from me, because when I became very focused on financial success and achieving my income goal and my management goal, I was out a lot, so I ate a lot of food on the road. And as you all know, eating in diners and eating fast food and pizza and crap like that doesn't exactly keep the weight off of you. So, and also my ex-wife was Italian and she was a great cook. And so one of the obstacles that I listed was I'm often out and about, and so I'm forced to buy food at places that don't really have too many healthy choices. My wife is a great cook, and when I get home late at night, she'll have made like lasagna, and she'll save it for me, and I'll just, eat lasagna at 10, 11 o'clock at night. Or she'll make some shells or some meatballs or anything of that nature. So for me, it was how do I get her to start cooking? Another obstacle was how do I get her to start cooking healthier without offending her? Another thing was she often buys cookies and other treats for the kids because she doesn't want to deprive them. But when I get home at 11 o'clock at night famished, I immediately go for the Chips Ahoys. Because the kids already ate the Oreos. But if the Oreos are around, I'd go for the Oreos because I'm a cookie guy, not a cake guy. So what else? Because I work 12, 14 hours a day, I don't have time to go to the gym. Do you see where I'm going?
Yep.
So
and you're
these are
finding an
all,
awful lot of obstacles.
Yeah, well, it's okay. I want to focus on the obstacles at this juncture. Okay, in project planning, this is called hotspots. This is anything that's going to prevent the completion of the project. Paul Meyer called it obstacles. Now, what do you notice about those obstacles? They're mostly all external, right?
Yeah, that was what I was thinking when you were saying it. They're all external, and you
all
can
external.
make the choice to or
Yeah.
not.
Right. They're all external. 99% of the obstacles to achieving your goal are always going to be external, in your mind. The reality is they're not external. So now that we discussed, now I create this task in my project called I earn $50K per month. I create, I open up, well, what you can also do is you can also, if you want, you don't have to use the notes from the goal. You can also create a task called rewards and do the same thing with the rewards. In fact, I think I might switch it to that. That way I can find the rewards in a heartbeat. But now I have this task called obstacles, and I list down everything that's stopping me. So now what is the next step? Well, the next step is, what are the solutions? And what you'll find is that once you identify what stands in, what's blocking you, which is really your belief system, but we haven't seen that yet, but we will, we now begin to identify what are the solutions. And the solutions come easily, okay? So I'll give you mine as opposed to Peggy's because I've done this before, and so it'll be easier for me to roll out. But I'll do one or two from Peggy, but I'll give you two of mine as an example first before I go to Peggy because I'm more familiar with it, so it'll be faster. So my wife is a great cook and often heats up food for me. So what is the solution to that?
Prepare your own meals.
Okay. That
Or
was one.
glass.
Not a possibility, but yes, you could list it in the brainstorming session. Okay, the answer was to have a conversation with Carol and tell her that I'm trying to lose weight and to have her prepare healthier meals for me. Or to make healthier meals for everybody. She was getting a few pounds heavy there too. So that was one solution. Number two, don't allow myself to get famished. How would I stop that? Instead of skipping dinner and going home to eat, how about I pick up a protein bar, or I make or I carry a protein shake, or I buy one of those already pre-made protein shakes and I carry that with me. Or how about I take soup with me in a thermos so that I can have a hot meal, so to speak, so that when I get home I'm not famished. Because the problem was that I skipped dinner because I'm out and about. And so when I get home at 10, 11 o'clock at night, I am famished. And the rest of the day, I'm working off of coffee and a bagel, coffee, 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 some kind of lunch, pizza or garbage food, and then coffee, coffee until I get home at night. And so at night, I'd be famished. And so that was the answer, right? That was one solution. Talk to Carol and have her prepare healthier foods. What else could I do with the Carol situation? Ask her. The second thing was ask her to prepare healthier foods. Number two was ask her not to make extra food for me so that I wouldn't have the opportunity to walk in and see a whole thing of lasagna and then want to eat it. That wasn't that feasible, but I put it down as a solution. So the other problem was I don't have time to work out, right? I work too many hours, I don't have time to work out. So the solution for that became, instead of going to eat pizza or whatever with the guys, if I'm not on the road, why don't I go to the gym, get a protein shake after I work out? And so the solution was research gyms, join gym. You see, when you make these action steps, when you make the action steps, it can't be something like join gym. You see, because in GTD, one of the great things I love about GTD is that if the action is going to take, if what you put down is going to take more, join a gym. What are the steps involved in joining a gym? Is it really just join a gym?
No, you have to find one. You have to visit a few of them, see what you like, what you want, how much it costs.
Yeah. So there's at least 3 action steps, or 4. So number 1 is research local gyms, right? Then I have to make a decision. Do I want a gym near work or a gym near home? And if I find a gym, can I find one that has a facility near work and a facility near home, which that would be ideal? Because on my day off, I don't want to be driving 45 minutes to my job so I can work out. So when I started to think about it, when I start to get into the specific action steps that I want to take, I have to look at more than just join gym. So I wrote down the solution, join gym at this point, because I'm not yet specific. So Peggy, let me ask you this. You came up with 3 obstacles. Pick one and tell me what would be the solution. Give me the obstacle again. Just say one of the obstacles that you mentioned earlier, because I didn't write it down. Peggy, are you still there? Oh, maybe I lost her. Okay, so I guess you guys get the idea, right? So now what's the next step? Now I've identified the obstacles. I've identified the solutions in a broad stroke, okay, broad stroke. So now what I want to do is I want to focus on the action steps. So now I'm going to go back in Wunderlist, and I'm going to look at the solutions, and to my solution of finding a gym, join gym, I'm going to write down research gyms near home and work. And then when I create that task, I'm going to give it a deadline. Okay, and I'm going to set a reminder. So I might say, okay, to do the research, it's Saturday. I might be able to do it tomorrow. I'll have it done before Tuesday. So I go in, I write down the task, and I put down, I set the deadline for Tuesday, March 1st. Leap year. And then I say, when do I want to be reminded of this? I want to be reminded at 7 o'clock in the morning, right after I get done getting up. Okay, great. Now I go to the next task. What else do I need to do? I need to decide on decide on a gym, right? Because I have to decide. I do the research, but I must also do what? Decide. So decide on gym. So when do I want to do that? Well, I'm going to research the gyms by Tuesday. I have to go out and visit them. I want to make a decision by this step now determines on how important this is to me, right? If it's super important, how long will I make the deadline? Could I get that done in 2 days, go down to a couple of gyms and make a decision by Friday? It's now Tuesday, remember. Could I make a decision by Friday? Anybody? Yes? No? Maybe?
Well, if you looked through your work schedule, I'm sure you could find a few minutes somewhere. Either to or from on your way to work to stop by.
Yeah, so it depends on how important that goal is to me and will determine my deadline. So if it's super important for me, if I decided, hey, I'm sick and tired of being fat, everybody referred to me as pudgy, and I've got some emotion involved, I may make the decision to research it by Tuesday and to make a decision by Wednesday, and to block out a couple hours on Wednesday morning, or get up earlier or stay up later, or whatever I need to do to get it done, depending on my importance. So I'll set a deadline based on my priority, how important I think it is. So now I'll set the deadline. Let's say in this case I decide that I want to do it by Thursday, and I want to be reminded of my deadline at 9 o'clock. So I set the deadline and I set a time. And now I move on. So now I've made a decision to research it. I made a decision to decide. So now what's the next step? Now, to join the gym, I might need workout clothes, right? I might need a gym bag. So as I start to think about it, I start to think, okay, do I have workout clothes? I got one of those old sweatpants. So go to Sports Authority or go to Amazon and order workout clothes. When do I want to do that by? What's my deadline for that? Again, I want to do that by Wednesday because I want to have it ready. So I'm going to join the gym by Thursday. So when do I want to start my first workout? Well, if I drove to the gym, I might as well work out that day, right? So I'm going to create a task that says first workout, Thursday. Do you follow what I'm doing? I'm making it very, very specific. I'm not making broad strokes here. I want something simple that I can knock out. And so now I've achieved that goal or that task, and it requires 3 or 4 steps. So that's the exercise goal. Now, I might have another step in there. Maybe let's say I don't know how to work out. So the next step might be to interview personal trainers or hire a personal trainer, or to read a book on how to work out, depending on my skill level. For me, I know how to work out. I was a certified personal trainer, so I wouldn't need that. So for me, it would just be, decide on workout routine, But I already know what I do, so I just pick up a workout log and, or find a workout app, and boom, I'm ready to. So that I handle that whole join gym thing. Put down a task. Sunday, because that was my day off, talk to Carol about cutting back on food. Now that's the deadline. That doesn't mean that I might not talk to her sooner, but I want to do it no later than Sunday. And again, I would set the deadline and a reminder so that my alarm goes off to remind me. Now I might set on that one, I might set 2 alarms. I might set an alarm for 2 days earlier to remind me, because I really don't want to wait till the last minute to knock out the task. And that's often what I do, is I'll set what I call a fake deadline or a fake reminder 2 days before the task is due. Because I have an affirmation that says I always hit my target dates, or I always hit my deadlines. I don't always, but that's what I say to myself. So now I've broken down my exercise goal. What else? Research, if I don't know protein bars, research protein bars and protein shakes. I set a deadline on that and a reminder. Decide / order protein shakes or protein bars, so that now I can implement immediately. Now that might mean just going over to, if I really want to act on it, I might just say, hey, I'm going to go to Vitamin Shop. But at this point, I don't want to jump into anything. See, this is what GTD teaches you, is that you don't necessarily have to act on something right away just because it happened right away. So some people, when they're going through this goal-setting process, will say, oh, I'm going to go driving to the Vitamin Shop right now. Well, that may not be the best use of your time. So yes.
What is JTB?
GTD is Getting Things Done by David Allen. It's a book that teaches you a way of processing all this information that we have. It's a very simple system. Some people have made it complicated, but it's really very simple. David Allen believes, and rightly so, one of the key concepts in time management is to have what's called a master to-do list. He calls it an inbox. So anytime you get an idea, because here's what happens. You're in that corporate meeting, and your brain kicks up, buy litter for cat. So what do you do with that? You have to have a way of capturing it, right? And today, because of digital, it's much easier to capture it. So if you're in a meeting, you would basically write down in your pad, or because you can't take out your cell phone, unfortunately, but you would write down litter cat. And then later on, you would transfer that to your inbox, which would be a list on your Wonder list called Inbox. You don't have to create it. It already exists in Wunderlist. Wunderlist is GTD friendly. It's not complete, but it's friendly. So anytime you get an idea, you just dump it in your inbox. So your inbox is just a place that information sits until you're ready to process it, kind of like your email inbox. You're supposed to look, your email inbox is supposed to be, you know, there's this theory called inbox zero or email zero, where you basically just look at your emails and you have a designated time to process your emails, and then your goal is to get your inbox to zero. And what you do is you look at the email, and if you can act on it immediately, you do, and if you don't, you create a folder called action, and then you transfer the email to the action folder. But of course, you must have a reminder set up to go and process the action folder at a specific time. It's just a matter of organization. It's really a very simple system. So getting back to it. So now you're breaking down all these action steps, and you're giving them all deadlines, and you're being reminded of it. Now, have we, by doing this process, have we been able to implement part of what we discussed about how not to fail or how to fail? We have our goals with us all the time, right? The goal is in our cell phone, on our iPad, on our laptop. We have deadlines popping up and things pinging us, reminding us that we must take action. The number one reason, you know, somebody told me once, Paul said this once, he said the reason most people don't accomplish their goals is because goals don't ring. That was in the day when people answered the phone, for those of you that are younger. You know, the phone, the thing that people actually talk into and don't just text. We all know that one, right? Does that resonate with anybody? Yes? No? Maybe? Little sound now? No? Okay. So the reason that goals don't get accomplished is because goals don't ring. People forget about them. Okay? So what I'm doing is I'm taking what I know works and plugging it into what we now can do with technology. And I have to go and check to see who's on the call because I'm getting no feedback. Okay. So does everybody follow me so far?
Yes.
Are you?
Yes, I do.
Okay. Are you seeing this as a great solution for your problem?
Yes.
I'm seeing it as a really good solution. It's a little more technology than I actually have access to.
Okay. Well, there are other ways of doing it.
But
There's the old pen
I'm
and paper way.
definitely following you. Yeah, I'm a pen and paper.
Yeah,
I have a
it's
notebook
really,
I take everywhere.
Yeah, it's really very simple. There's a whole, this is just a digital version of the paper version.
Right.
And you can still use it. You don't have to, you can set reminders on your cell phone to do this. You don't have to create it all in your cell phone. But I found that the reason why is because I used to lug around my planner everywhere I went, and after a while it got heavy, and then if I didn't take it, I'd forget to work on it because I used to, if I went to the bathroom, I took my planner. If I went, if I went to lunch, I took my planner. You know, guys would say to me, Bert, aren't you ever, what is that book? Because there's a big white book with a flap on it that said, My Personal Plan of Action. And they'd say, what is that? And I'd say, this is my life. Because it contained everything I wanted to be, do, or have. So it was my life. And from there, I would call all my lists of what I wanted to do. In that planner, I had pictures of the things I wanted. So when I opened up that planner, it served as my affirmation. My plan of action contained my dream list, my goals, my affirmations, and my visualizations. And so essentially what I'm doing for you in this conversation is helping you to set up the digital equivalent. Okay, I'm running over time. There's 2 more segments to this where we discuss the 2 main characteristics of what really will help you achieve your goals. You see, some goals are easy and you'll be able to accomplish them with very little work. However, as you begin to make progress on your goals, what you'll find is that that you lose motivation. And so the last 2 steps are affirmations and visualization. And there's an exact methodology for those 2. You can't be just writing them down any old way. And visualization, it can't just put pictures up of what you want. There's an exact methodology that Paul taught. Now this is, what I'm giving you is a combination of a couple of things, but Paul J. Meyer's course, The Dynamics of Personal Motivation, sold back in '93 for $900. I think today it sells for $2,100. So what I'm sharing with you is a $2,100 course that is the most intensive course on goal setting. But it isn't just about goal setting. It's about how to accomplish your goal, because it takes into consideration mindset and the how-to. So, ladies and gentlemen, I appreciate your time, but I'm going to have to cut it off here. We are way over the call. This call is being recorded, so I will post it later on. What I do want to say to you folks is that what I decided to do is I want everybody to plug into some of this material, and I want you all to really understand the key concept, which is that the key to achieve your goals is immersion. And so what I did is I took the Goal Achievers course and the Winner's Image course, and I split it up into two. So if you decide that you didn't want to buy both for $99, the course itself in a product fact, as a physical product, sells for $279. The digital sells for $179. I was offering both courses, the Goal Achievers course and the Winner's Image course, for only $99. But I found that, you know, a dozen or so people bought it, and I'd like more people to get on it, because included in that is 11 group coaching sessions where we discuss and really get down to mastering the principles that are on these two courses. And the one course is the mindset for achieving goals, and the other one is the visualization and affirmation for achieving the goals. And to be candid with you, as much as I love Paul's stuff, this is really superb stuff. And so what I did is I broke it down where you can buy the Goal Achievers course for $49, or you can buy the Winner's Edge for $49, or you can buy both for $99. And what you get with that is you get, with the Winner's Image, you get, I believe it's 8 audios and a workbook, and you'll be also on 8 group calls that happen on Sunday at 10 a.m. Eastern Time, and they are recorded, so you can listen to them over and over again. And then if you buy the Winner's Image is 3 audios, a workbook, and a DVD. And so you'll have digital access to those, and that course will take place over 4 weeks. So there'll be 4 calls. So if you join both, it's approximately 11 or 12 group coaching calls that take place on Sunday. They're recorded, and what we're doing is we're really going through the workbook and doing the exercises and really cementing in, because the goal is mastery, not just understanding. See, some people, I talked to this woman, and she said she understood, she read Think and Grow Rich, and I said, did you understand it? She goes, yeah, I get it. And I go, do you have a goal statement? Nope. Do you say it out loud? No. Do you have a self-confidence formula? No. Do you read it out loud? No. Okay, so you read it, you think you understand it, but you're not applying it, and there's a big difference. You can't just read something and expect it to change you, okay? In order to change, it comes from conflict, engagement, and doing. Can't get it any other way. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to post a link to the sales page. I actually wrote a sales page so you can read more about the copy and about the program. And I encourage all of you to get it. You can put it on your MP3 and you can listen to it over and over and over again. And just saturate your mind with what you want. Because right now you're doing that, but you're doing that in a negative fashion. You're saturating yourself with the news, with negative people, with things that are just reinforcing what you don't want. You have to saturate your mind with what you do want. You know, there is no, you know, look, it's a price. It's you have to immerse yourself in this mindset for a year or two until you eventually erase and displace every negative and limiting belief that you have. You can't just do it with one exposure. You can't just go to a seminar and have it happen. There is some lifting, but fortunately the lifting is not heavy. The lifting can be put on auto play by just listening and exposing yourself to this. And Bob Proctor is exceedingly great at this, because he even tells you and gives you the tools for doing the repetition, because he understands the power of repetition, because he studied Think and Grow Rich for over 40 years. So I'm going to put the link up. I encourage you all to get it. If you know, I made it so that it's really cheap. You can buy the Goal Achievers course, because that's what we're going through now, and then later on, if you want to do the Winner's Image, so you don't have to lay out the $99 all at once. You can just buy half of it now and half later. So that's my little sales pitch at the end. And of course, you're going to get access to the group calls, and we had our first group call on Sunday. I have it recorded, and there was a lot of great stuff that came out of that. I mean, it was an emotional call for me. I won't get into the specifics, but you'll get a lot out of it, believe me. And of course, also, I'm going to be interviewing Bob Proctor, and you know, I'm looking for questions to ask him. in this 30-minute interview. It'll be, hopefully I can get him on video on Zoom, which is the goal, and I think that will happen. And you'll have access to that, so we'll have an opportunity to listen from the master himself. I mean, Bob charges $10,000 for a 1-hour coaching session, and his seminars are usually $1,000 to $1,500. And, you know, he really is preaching what works. It may not be NLP, but you know what? It's still the Bible. It's Think and Grow Rich, and he understands it better than anybody else. So with that in mind, I want to thank you all for your time, and I will post this on the thing, and I'll post the link so that you all can have access to it. I encourage you to do it because I think that the program itself is incredible. You'll get the course, the group coaching, and access to Bob Proctor's call. So I thank you again, everybody, and you all have a great day.